Hi everybody, it is the 29th of November 2021 and yesterday Inclement Dab's amazing DayZ Editor had an update which means that it exports perfectly the files that we on PlayStation and Xbox and of course PC can use to create custom location structure spawns from our CFG gameplay.json file. So you can be easily within a few minutes spawning in custom buildings and objects on your map very easily. Now before you go, well wait a minute, the reason why I play on console is because I haven't got a PC to run something like the DayZ Editor. You don't need a powerful laptop or computer to run DayZ Editor and DayZ. You know, even if what you've got can only play DayZ at 10 frames a second with the settings all the way down and the draw distance, you know, all the way down as well, that's enough just to be able to play objects, because you're not going to be playing DayZ, you're just going to be placing things. So get a copy of DayZ on sale in the Steam sale. DayZ Editor is free. You know, subscribe to it, subscribe to the other mods that it uses, and you can get stuck in. So I'm going to be going through the whole process here of spawning some stuff in and then uploading it to the server as well, to show you how easy it is. So where this is coming from, on my private servers, because this is so easy, I've said to all the members, I've said, okay, I'll tell you what guys and girls, if you want a custom small structure anywhere on Chernarus or Livonia on one of our servers, just tell me where it is, which way you want it facing, what's the name of the structure, and I'll put it in for you. So I've had a request come through saying, hi, I'm on the PS4 Livonia server, I'd like a land village pub at those coordinates facing the road a few metres back if possible. Brilliant, so we can crack on. Right, now what we want to do first is I'm just going to get DayZ Editor loading up. So I fired up the DayZ launcher, go into the mods, search for editor, and it'll say you need these mods as well, so I'll load those, and then you just click play. DayZ Editor is a local mod. It's playing DayZ locally, like an offline mode basically it's doing. So the next thing, you need to make sure that your server is ready to be able to do adjustments to the CFG gameplay.json. So go into your settings and scroll down to the bottom where it says enable CFG gameplay.json. That's what you have on Nitrado server web interfaces for PlayStation and Xbox. If you're on PC and you're on Nitrado, what you've got to do is we're going to the general settings, activate advanced settings, and then in your advanced settings you need to have a line that says enable CFG gameplay equals 1, and I'll link to the Bohemia Active articles that tell you how to do this down in the description below the video. If you're with another provider, you've probably got access to your server dz.config file, and so you just need to add that line in, enable CFG gameplay file equals 1, and that means that the CFG gameplay file is then activated. And the CFG gameplay file is a simple file. Let me show you. I've downloaded one here that controls quite a few things, and as DayZ develops over the next year into 2022, it's going to control more things, but the important one we're interested in is the object spawner array. And what this can do, it can call other files that contain the data that we need to spawn custom objects in, custom structures, that sort of stuff. What's very exciting is you can have as many of these files as you like. So if I produce a file and I save it somewhere on the internet, you can download it and you can use it. So we can have the whole of the DayZ community, whether it be PC, Xbox or PlayStation, creating these files in order for us to all share and to use. Now also I'll show you something else. On console, we have now got this separate folder in our mission folder. So when you go to your server, go into the mission, whether that be Chernarus for Chernarus, Enoch for Livonia, and you've got this separate folder called custom. That's where we have to save the custom JSONs. That's where it will read it. So for PC users, when you're following this video along, you'll notice that the names that I give to the locations of my custom JSONs start with custom / and then the name. That's because that's the relative address of that file from where the CFG gameplay.json file is. So one of the things you might want to do if you're on PC would be to create a custom folder so it's the same, and it also keeps the files separate. Right, let's shut this down. So the editor's started up, so let's open the editor and we're going to Enoch, we're going to Livonia. Right, so it's going to carry on loading up now. Let's have a look. Let's just go back here. So we've got that. So if you look inside, so this is actually inside the custom folder for my Livonia server, and you can see I've already got a custom JSON there. I've already done that one today. And then if you look at my CFG gameplay.json file, you can see we've got, where is it? There it is. That's the line there. Object spawner is custom/Dodgers Livonia pub.json. And you'll notice that I've also got my map group pos.xml open, because the really cool thing about the editor is that not only does it output a file that we can use to spawn in the buildings, it also spawns out the XML snippets that you can insert into your map group pos to make sure the loot spawns in properly as well, without having to fiddle around with it. So let's have a look. So it's just loading up now. This will take a bit longer if you've got a less powerful PC, but still go for it. It's definitely worth having a go with. And what I'll do is, before we dive into doing the mission, let me just show you something I'm working on. So we go File, Open Recent. Right. Oh, it's a different map. Sorry, no, I can't show you that. In fact, let's go to File. There we go. So this is the one I did. This is one I did earlier. You may have seen this on the other videos. So this is one I did for one of the members. Nice. He wanted a pub by the lake. So there's his pub, and I did a load of other stuff as well. Actually, I didn't add those two, but I just put them in. Got some greenhouses, a shed, a couple of outhouses, chicken coop, and then a Santa sleigh on the roof. So let's file that. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so here's lovely Livonia. And then what we want to do now is go back and see with our request where they wanted it. Hi, I'm on PS4, Livonia server, a village pub at those coordinates. So let's have a look to see where those coordinates are to start off with. So let's go into iSurvive. Let's go into the Livonia map. Let's paste those in. Let's go to that coordinates. Okay, so this is south of Sobotka. There's a nice lake there. Okay, let's just double check what the description is. Facing the road a few meters back, and it's a land village pub. Okay. So south of Sobotka along the road. Okay, so let's press M in here. I don't know. Where's Sobotka then? So I'm going to show my ignorance of Livonia now, aren't I? So Sobotka is south of Brenner. So we should be able to find Brenner, shouldn't we? Alright, there's Sobotka. Let's just double check. So it's further south past Harud. So it's sort of around this area here, isn't it? I'd say it's bang on about there. So let's press the middle mouse button. And let's press M, and we can have a look what this area is like. Now, when you start doing this, one of the most important things is how level the land is. If you try and build on land that isn't very level, it could be... you have to start tipping things over, and buildings don't look particularly great when they're tipped over. Okay, so another nice lake. Let's have a look. Now, See, the problem is, if we put it on this side of the road, the pub's really going to be tipping over quite a lot. So let's have a look. How level is this? Ground tips away quite a lot here as well. But it all does, doesn't it? Let's have a look. Where's it flatter? It's kind of much flatter here, isn't it? This is a bit flatter here. Okay, so I think probably here is going to be a good place. So let's go back to the request. Let's copy that. Let's go to the editor. Let's click up here, Control V to paste it in. There's the Land Village pub. And we can put on collision mode, I think. Let's have a go. Right, so there's the Land Village pub. Let's have a look. Okay, so now we want to kind of set it up. So that's the side of it, isn't it? So let's press Shift to spin it round. Ooh. That's the front there. So what we can do now is if we move it back slightly, and if we hold Alt, we can bring it down. Now maybe the challenge here is going to be the back of the pub. Yeah, you see how, because the land is so uneven. So what we can do is maybe if we bring it forward to something like that. Is that any good? What's the back of the pub like now? We've still got some grass there, haven't we? That is a problem. Is it flatter down here? Don't think it is it? So we've got the classic problem here of the ground just being uneven. Ground looks a bit better over here. That is quite flat there. Tell you what, let's move this. Whoop. Over here. Now, is it too big? See what it looks like if we spin it round a little bit. So we had something like that. And then we bring it down. No, we're clipping over the top of the... How about here? How close can we get it? Right, if we double click on that, we can actually just mess around with these figures. So I'm just scrolling up and down with the mouse wheel here. So we can bring that to there. Bring the altitude down. Okay, so if we bring it forward, so they're just not quite on the road. Let's just have a look at that. It needs to come down further, doesn't it? Because those steps are way too high. Okay, but we can come down forward. So let's double click on that. Let's click in this middle. Let's move that out of the way. If we press Shift, we can bring it down in smaller increments. So say we went down to something like that. So basically it's on the ground, isn't it? Let's have a look. That might be doable. That might be doable. Now, if you're not quite sure, what you can do is you just click somewhere, press T, and then press home. With a bit of luck, we'll spawn in as our character. And we can just have a wander around just to make sure everything's okay. Okay, so we've got a few plants in, but this is, you know, the apocalypse. So the question is, can we run up there? We can. So that's not too bad there. We can get in there. That's all right. Does it look silly from the road, I guess is the thing. I mean, it's a little bit too close to the road, but I think we've made a good use of the environment that's around. Just make sure nothing's floating mid-air. So that's good. Yeah, because I mean, you can see the sheer drop-off, can't you? You know, I don't think there's not really that much we can do about that. Let's just... Yeah, we've got a bit of dirt in here, but... I tell you what, we could probably raise... Let's raise it up a little bit. Let's go back here, press spacebar, double click on that, press shift, and we'll raise her up. Say we raise her up a little bit like that. So, okay. Home again. Okay, so that's better in there. The question is this drop off the back steps too much? Oh, that's all right, isn't it? That's okay. Okay, and to tell you what, that is a nice view, isn't it? We've got a nice view over the lake where we're sipping on our drink. And then we can get up there. That's good. And we go in the front room. Okay, so we're happy with the main structure. However, although I told my players, the guests on my server, that they could only have one structure, because this is so easy, we can actually spawn some other things in as well. So I don't know, I mean, what would you like to have with your base? I mean, I think, to be honest, what you always have to have is a toilet, don't you? There always must be a toilet. So we can click up here, top left hand corner, type toilet, so we can pop a... Oh, we don't want that one. We don't want a mobile toilet. They look rubbish. We want a dry toilet. Want a nice outside loo, don't we? Let's put it down by the shed. So let's just move it back here. Let's just rotate it a little bit by holding shift and then rotating it. And let's just put it down into the ground a little bit more. Go up and have a look. Okay, so it's not very well positioned, is it? So let's take her back. That's better. Let's just go make sure it's not floating in midair. That looks good. So we've got a shed, we've got a toilet, and then what else have we got? We've got some space around here, haven't we, for something? Now, I always like to have things like greenhouses and things like that. So let's put in a... Where would you put it? If you live around here, where would you put your greenhouse? Now, remember, this is a pub, isn't it? So you maybe wouldn't do it straight next to it. But, actually, I've just had a thought. Actually, being a pub, could it not have a thing for kiddies to play on? How big's that carousel? That could be like the garden for the kiddies to play on, couldn't it? Okay, it's a little bit close to the road. But let's have a look. This is Eastern Europe after all. Let's move that over. So that's a little carousel. Now let me just jump into it by pressing home just to make sure it doesn't look completely out of place. Oh yeah, see how that's sticking up the ground? That's not very good, is it? maybe there isn't enough flat ground to have a carousel. Oh, saying that, it's flatter on this side. It's flatter on this side. Right, let's jump out. Let's move this around to there. Let's just press Alt and then drag that down. So it's kind of on the ground. Let's jump in to make sure it sort of fits. Yeah, so that's for the pub garden, isn't it? That's rather nice, isn't it? So we've got our little toilet we've added. Oh, this is quite flat here, isn't it? This is quite flat here. I reckon we should put a greenhouse in here. So let's press home. Let's come here. Press spacebar to get our cursor back up. Let's type green house. There we go. Let's pop her in. And let's put her in there. Now, let me do so if you have an object, if you double click the blue box, you get these up. And if you just click inside the settings and then roll your mouse wheel, you can move things around. So we want to play around with the rotation, which I think is that's the first one. So we can put that there. Then if we click on Y, that is the altitude. Now if you hold shift, you can do it in smaller increments. Let's just say okay, right, let's just jump in because I'm not sure, this might look a bit overgrown actually. Okay, but this is the apocalypse. So we've got a nice greenhouse there. There's the toilet. They've already got a shed. They've got something there. Woo. That's all very nice, isn't it? I think we've done a pretty good job there, because the biggest problem, as I said at the beginning, was that we've got the land isn't quite level, so it's a bit tricky. But we could go on. So how do we get this into our server now? So what we're going to do now is we're going to export the files. First, what we're going to do is we're going to save them actually. File, save as, and you scroll down with this little box here, and we're going to call this Unicorns Pub. And we're going to save that. Now they're not the export files, that's just like a mission file. So if you want to come back to this piece of work, we made a mistake or something, we can easily upload the files. Now all we've got to do now is you go File, Export to Object Spawner, and then we scroll down here and get to File, and we go Unicorns Objects. In fact, what we'll call it is, we call it Unicorns Live Pub. Unicorns Live Pub. So let's export that. So that's the structures. And then we're going to go File, Export to Map Group Pos. And we're going to call this Unicorns Loot. We're going to export that. Okay. Now, if we come out, and now if you go on your computer to where it's normally in your documents. So if you go into Documents, and then you'll find DayZ, then you'll find Editor. You'll then find these objects in here. So we've got Unicorn Loot and Unicorns Live Pub JSON. So let's just open these up first so you can see them. Okay. Oh, wrong. We don't want to use. Open with Notepad++. Highly recommend Notepad++. It's a brilliant program. Now, so straight away, so this is the Unicorn Lives Pub.json that we just exported from the editor, and this is perfect. We don't need to make any changes to this at all. It's ready to go. This is absolutely perfect. Okay, and then if we look at the unicorns loot.xml, this is an XML snippet that we can add to our map group pos and upload it, and this will add it in perfectly. So what I've already done, so I've got my map group pos open for my Livonia. It's just an example for Livonia server. So we're just going to put a remark at the top. So we're going to put unicorns pub, like so. And then what we could then do is we could just copy that over there, and that would kind of, yeah, we could save that and upload it. But this is even easier than that, because what you can do is we can just upload all this stuff straight away. So if we just go to our server, we find the right bit where we are. So we're in the custom section of our Enoch server. If I just go upload, and then we go to custom, and then I haven't saved it in the right place, so we're just going to have to go back a second. Let's just file, save as. Let's just save this in the right place. So this is my DayZ server here. So I'm just going to save it in the right bit for there. MP missions, Enoch, custom. There we go. So that's saved there. So if we go back to here now. So there it is. So unicorns live pub.json. So we're going to say open. And that is going to, with a bit of luck, if we just try it again. There we go. So unicorns live pub is now on my server. If we now go to our, I've opened up the CFG gameplay.json file actually on the server. So if we just put in a comma after that, quotation marks like that. In fact, we can just copy that one if we wanted to. So we could just copy that, paste that just after the comma. Got to make sure you get it right. So it's comma. Yep, that's all correct. Then we just need to put the file name in. So if we go into MP missions, Enoch, custom, we can copy that file name so we already know what it is. Paste that over the top. So, oh, no, undo that. I did that wrong, didn't I? Okay. This is the most common thing you'll get. I didn't put the custom bit in front of it. So we copy that, put that in front of there. Now remember, this is because on console we have that separate folder called the custom folder. So there it is. So we've got custom dodgers livonia pub.json and custom / unicorns live pub.json. So let's just save that. And then if we go to my map group pos.xml, which I've opened up on the server, just put some spaces in. If it'll let me do it. There we go. I can then go to here and I can just copy that like so. Now I'm accessing it directly via the web browser, saving like this. Don't always recommend you do this because it can be a little bit janky, but I just want to show how simple it is. And then what we could do, so there, just check that. Check that. That's all right. So we save changes. Let's go back to there. Just have a look at it again. Make sure we've done it right. Custom JSON. And then all we have to do now is restart the server, and that is it. When players go to this area of Livonia, they will find this stuff with the loot in. And that, my friends, is how easy it is. Now, one little caveat to this is that what you should be doing as you're going along to check your files, you should be dropping your JSONs into a JSON validator and your XMLs into an XML validator, just to make sure you haven't done any mistakes as well. But that, my friends, is how you can use the DayZ Editor to incredibly easily create custom locations within your map. And what I'll do is let me just so there's some things we can't spawn in yet. You know, you can't spawn in like the barbed wire and stuff like that. But just to give you an idea of stuff, let's say you wanted to make a wall around a military base. Why not consider things like this? So I'm just copy and pasting there. And remember, in the apocalypse, in the zombie apocalypse, in the infected apocalypse, the army in particular would be having to improvise about how they did stuff, wouldn't they? So don't think that you have to do everything in the same way that the game does it. So the game obviously will have sandbags and have hex, those square big bags full of dirt, won't it? We can't do that on console yet. We can't spawn those stuff in. We probably will be able to at some point, but we can't. You can on PC, but we can't on console. So use what's in the game. So like here, you know, use things like the containers to create walls. And then we have, you know, you could imagine you could make a wall of containers of different colours, couldn't you? You could use all different containers and you could place them around a military forward operating base or something like that. And there we go. That, my friends, is how easy it is to use the DayZ Editor. I'm sure as we get more fluent with it, people will have to do it quickly. I would also recommend that when you first start doing this, just spawn one thing in. Spawn one building. And I also highly recommend you set up a local server to check the files first. So there we go. Hopefully you found that useful. If you have found it useful, hit like if you want to see more of the same, press subscribe. And I will, of course, see you again soon.